Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to play with blocks. We're going to do some pretty nice, slow stretching. So, as always, I want you to be really mindful of how you're stretching, what you're doing to your body, um, just taking good care of yourself. We're going to start seated, and then we're going to come down to the floor, and then we're going to get up. So, have two blocks near you if you have them. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. If you have one with you, and then find a seat. Maybe move the flesh out from the sit bones and know that you can sit up on a pillow, a blanket, or a block if you need to get up a little bit higher, especially if the knees are kind of way up here. Um, it's good if we can get our hips or our knees at about the level of our hips and not up here at the waist, where it can put a bit of a strain on the hips or the back. So, something to think about. And if you sit on a block, it gives you that chance to lower the knees a little bit more. So there's that explanation. And then take your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back and take them down. Good. Two more right here. Inhale, reach them up. Squeeze them back and down. And last one, take it up. Squeeze it back and let it come down. And then sit well and close your eyes. And just start to check out how your body is feeling this morning. If you've got any kinks or tightness or anything like that, maybe start to wiggle that spine into place so that the tailbone descends down to the floor and the crown of the head reaches up toward the ceiling. Maybe take notice of where your shoulders are in space. And if they feel really rounded forward, maybe you draw the shoulders back a little bit, engaging the back muscles between those shoulder blades. And let the elbows be heavy. Let them be heavy at your side body. Try not to reach the arms forward. And imagine that the back of your head and the back of your shoulders, and maybe even the back of your sacrum, way down below the lower back. Imagine if all of those were just so gently resting on a wall so that the head moves back in space without lifting the chin, the shoulders move back in space without over squeezing, the softness of the lower back and then the sacrum to that same imaginary wall. And then feel your breath, exhaling it fully as you exhale. Softening the face, softening the space behind and between the eyes. And maybe listen to the sounds around you, whether you have music playing in your background or you're outside and can hear the birds. Or maybe you just hear your own breath, you hear your own inhale and exhale. And then let your eyes open up. Take the hands out to your sides. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands right to your heart. Push them, interlace them, push them out, reach up. Exhale, curl in, little bit of a cat and cow here. As you inhale, arch the spine a little bit, maybe look up a little. As you exhale, push the hands toward the belly, round your back. Good. Few more. Inhale. Exhale, take it out. And up. And exhale, curl it in, everyone. Good. Last one right here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, curl it in, and then take the arms up. Separate those hands. Let your right hand come to the floor. Stretch your left arm really nice and long. Soften the right shoulder. I'm mirroring here. So soften the right shoulder. Let that elbow be heavy toward the floor, stretching out that whole left side of your body. Press down through the left hip. And breathe. And then take that same left arm and reach it across your knee as if you could stretch it straight out past that knee. Inhale, reach the arm up, take it diagonally back. Let the hand come to the floor, open twist. And then the right hand comes to the left knee to come into a little bit deeper twist. Find your breath, everybody. Watch that head, that neck. Don't overturn the neck. Keep it soft. Big deep breath. And then inhale, both arms up. Exhale, both arms down. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, left hand comes down to the floor. The right arm stretches over. The right hip drops down to the floor. Your head is in alignment. A lot of times I'll see that ear dropping down toward the shoulder. Instead, see if you can find kind of equal distance on both sides of the neck and also the front and the back of the neck, right? Just see if you can have that neck in alignment. Nice deep stretch, reaching through that whole right side. And then take the arm over the knee, just stretch that side body. Inhale, reach up and back, a little bit of a diagonal. Open up both shoulders. And then take your left hand to the right knee. Nice deep breath, everyone. Watch again that head, neck. We can move, most of us, not everybody, but most of us have more range in the cervical spine than we do the rest of the spine. So we can tend to over twist it. So I'm always kind of mindful there. Good, release, take that arm up, exhale it down, both arms up. Exhale, both hands to your heart and roll the shoulders back and let go. Let's shake out the legs. Everybody take them forward, maybe circle out the ankles. And then bend your knees and allow yourself to sit back a little bit so that you feel like you are supported with an open and lifted spine. So don't round. And all I want you to do is flex your feet. Your knees, your hips, or your knees and your feet are hips width apart. Flex and then point. Good. Flex and flex. Flex. We're going to be doing a bit with the ankles and the Achilles tendon today. So again, especially if you've had an injury to the Achilles, if you've had a tear or something like that, just again, be mindful, don't overdo it. Good. The next time your feet are flexed, hold, pull the shoulders back, lift your chest. And I want you to imagine dragging your heels back toward your hips isometrically. So I'm really pulling, I'm activating that those hamstring muscles. And if I turn sideways, you can kind of see I'm just pulling those pretty hard back, keeping the chest open, keeping the shoulders back. And then keep the right foot digging into the yoga mat. Lift your left one and just press it out. Now notice, right, all of a sudden that core really kicks in. One, you're here, you're good. Two, you let go of those arms, pull the shoulder blades back, getting a little bit of core work. By the way, I am digging super hard with that right foot. And lower it down, lift up, and release the feet and the pose. Good. Let's do that one again, other side. So big flex of the feet, really start to pull those heels back. Dig the left one in, lift the right one. Remember, the hands can stay behind for stability or reach it out. Still good? Take the arms out, pull the shoulders back, keep the chest as lifted as you can. Breathe. Don't forget about the left foot digging down and digging back isometrically. Find your breath, everybody. Good. Bend, release. Release the feet. Maybe just roll forward here a little bit. Nice deep breath. Good. Last one here. Flex both feet. Grab one of your blocks if you have it and place it between your thighs. I like mine second width to get that kind of spacing that feels right for my body, but you can play there. Dig your heels in and dig both of those feet back, right? So really feel like you're pulling it back. It activates the hamstrings. Lift your chest, just lift one leg, squeeze your block, take the arms up. So now we've involved more the inner thighs, right? Inner thighs, inner groin. Keep digging the right heel back. Lift your chest. You can try taking the arms out a little bit harder, right? Those arms move further away from your body. Take the arms back, release, chill out for 2 seconds or less. Flex your feet, lean back, keep the chest lifted, take the right foot off the floor, dig the left heel back, lift the chest. Option, by the way, would be to keep the hands under your thighs or behind you. Breathe, squeeze your block, squeeze, squeeze, and release. Roll forward for a moment. Can see I'm getting these out of the way pretty quickly, right? Good. Flex your feet. Take the hands behind you. Pull the shoulders back. Lift both feet. Squeeze the heck out of your block. Breathe. 1, you're here. 2, those hands move to your thighs. Squeeze your block. 3, the hands reach up. Boat pose. Variation of boat pose. Breathe. 5, squeeze your block. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo, and release. Take that block out and set those blocks along your side so that you can get to them as we come down to our backs. So arms out in front, heels dig in, slowly lower down to the floor. Once you're there, draw your knees to your chest. Keep the right leg in, stretch the left leg nice and long. Find your breath. Good, and then switch sides. Stretch the right leg, bring the left knee in. Breathe. Good, 1 more, both sides. Just stretching out the back after that work. And other side. Both knees to chest. And then both feet to the floor. I want you to take one of your blocks and you're going to place it right behind your left upper thigh and buttock, right? So right at the edge of that kind of glute, as if you could lay your leg on it. That's kind of where I want it to be. And then your right foot just stays on the floor. Take the left leg up, draw the shoulders down. Good. And then lower the leg until it hits your block and take it back up. Good. And lower it down. Just doing 1 more of these and up. Don't let the knee bend if you can help it. Keep it nice and straight. And take it up to the ceiling. Good. Take the right leg up to the ceiling as well. The hands either hold on to the sides of your mat or maybe they go underneath your glutes. Keep the right leg up. Lower the left leg until it lands on the block and hold. Breathe. If you don't need the extra support at the lower back, the hands can come to your sides. Breathe. Now squeeze your belly and take the leg up. Good. 4 more right here. You're taking it down and up. If it's up on second level and this feels real easy for you, drop it to the first level, but make sure it stays right up at that, right up at the gluteal muscle or up right up at the buttock. Good. And lower. This is 3 and 2. Yep. And 1. Good. And bring it up. I want you to switch sides. Whoops. Bend your left leg. Let that foot stay on the ground. Your block is sitting right up underneath the right leg. And lower down just for 3. 1 and up. And 2. A little bit of core work here. And 3. Good. 1, you can stay there. 2, both legs come up. The belly tones. The left leg stays high. Lower your right leg. Hold and squeeze it up. So the work is more on the squeeze up than it is on the lowering down. The lowering down, we've got gravity, right? The squeeze up is the work. 2 more here. And breathe. Last one. and up. Good. Bring your knees to your chest. Just rock a little bit side to side. And then the last one here, if you have two blocks, awesome. If you don't, I didn't try this in practice, but maybe one block right at the center would work. And if neither, then don't worry about it. Take the hands underneath your sacrum. So start with those blocks at second level and make sure, again, they're nice and close to your hips. Take both legs up. Open the shoulders, let the hands come down to your sides. Good, you're gonna start with alternating just for two. So you're gonna drop one, take it up, drop the other, and up. One more, both sides. That's it. So that was the easy one. Hold on to your sides of your mat. Push the mat away. That's gonna lengthen your back. And lower both. Squeeze, try not to bend the knees and lift up. That's it. Exhale. Squeeze to lift. This is 3. I think one block would work here. Or a really, really thick book. Good. This is 4. Hang in there. We got one more. 5, lift up, hold those legs up if you can. If you need to bend and take a break, go ahead and do that. We're gonna do 5 more. If that was easy for you, I want you to go to the lower setting. Hold here, tone the belly, hands to the sides of your yoga mat. Pull the yoga mat away from you. You're gonna feel how that just seems to lengthen that whole sacrum tailbone, which helps the lower back some. All right. So one leg or both legs, it's up to you. We're going to take them down slow. And then we're going to squeeze them up. We only have 5 of these. Piece of cake, right? Down we go. And squeeze up. Keep those feet flexed. Down. You're tapping those blocks, bringing it up and down. Ooh, yeah, squeeze it up. We got one left, everybody. Down. I want you to squeeze up halfway. Pull that yoga mat away from you. Press the shoulders down. Flex your feet. Push the big toe mounds away from you. So those feet are really having to work here. Squeeze through your belly. If you can let go without compromise to the low back, take those arms up as if you could reach your toes and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way up. Bend your knees. That wasn't so bad. Move those blocks off to the side and then roll your knees to one side and come on up. Not so bad. Not so bad at all. All right. Have the blocks by the front of your mat. I was thinking about, we have at home in Sarasota, we have a Shakespeare book that is literally, it's easily this big. That would be a good book to use if you didn't have a second block. Anyway, all right, come to table pose, everybody. Your knees are hips width apart. Your feet are hips width apart. Your hands are spread out. Your shoulders nice and open. Press through your right leg and press the ball mountain to the floor. I want you to tone the belly here. Level out the hips and just reach your left arm. So the right foot is grounded, right? We feel that foot pressing into the floor. We feel the length of the spine, and then lift the leg. And notice how that feels a little bit different than our normal, where we would have the hand down and lift the hand second. Good, nice deep breath here. And then take elbow to opposite knee, nice and slow. Here we go, reach, squeeze it in, reach it out. This is 3, reach, and 4, last one, 5, reach out, everybody. Let the hand come down, listen up. Hopefully you have the room for this because I didn't say otherwise. I want you to turn your right foot out to the side and then reach it out to the hip. Drop that foot right to the floor. And then take a look at your left knee. That left knee should be relatively right below your left hip. Walk your hands toward your body. Come on up, a little bit of gate pose here. So that right leg really extended out, should feel nice and solid. The foot is either turned heel down and then toes down. I know I'm kind of losing my little computer or my little camera there, or it's turned more to the side, which I personally prefer. Lift up through your core. Inhale, take the arms up. As you exhale, that right hand goes down the right leg and we stretch the left arm over. Good squeeze to the hips here, everybody. And if your hands happens to land around that knee, don't press down, okay? Keep it really soft as we stretch through the side body. Big deep breath. And then take both arms up. Exhale as those hands come down to the floor. Press down, lift the leg if you can, take it back, turn the toes down, reach the left arm, balancing table. Release the hand, release the knee or the foot, and maybe stretch back just for a second here, a little bit of child's pose. Find your breath. Good. And when you're ready, come on up. So same thing, other side. I don't think I'm going to need to move. So let's try it. Press through the left foot. Reach through the right arm. Level out the hips, tone in through your belly. When you're ready, lift your left leg. Find your breath. Good. From here, knee to elbow for 5. Squeeze. 4. 3, you got it. And 2, are you smiling too? And 1, hold. Release the hand, turn the left toes out to the left. Slide that leg right along the hip. Drop that foot to the floor. Before you do anything else, just eyeball that knee and see if it's lined up, and then walk the hands up. Take the torso all the way up. Whew. Find your breath, tone through the belly. Inhale, reach up. And as you exhale, slide left arm down the left leg, stretch through the whole right side. Use your breath, everyone. You got it. Keep those hips really tight and strong. Keep the left extended leg toned so that you don't irritate the knee here. And then inhale, both arms up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Walk those hands back under shoulders. Open them up. Lift the left leg, slide it back. Hold your pose, reach the right arm. Find your breath. And let the hand go, let the knee go. Take the knees nice and wide, everyone. And sit back, maybe a little bit of child's pose. And breathe. Good. Press into your hands. Come on back up. Bring the knees back to hips width. Plant your hands. If you have your blocks, I want you to take one block in the center of your mat. If you have a second block, just keep it nearby. So you're just kind of looking at those blocks. We're going to move those in a moment. So from here, downward facing dog. And start your first down dog, just stretching. Bend the knees. Move through your feet. Just notice. And then if you can, I want you to look at the blocks and bring one closer. Either you're going to bring that one block up at the highest level. What I'm hoping you can do or find is a rest of the forehead near the hairline on your block. Some of you are going to need an extra block to make that happen. Some of you aren't going to make that happen no matter what. So don't overstretch here. You know, you can like pull your head down to a block. I don't want you to do that. Another option is to take the feet a little wider and then adjust your block. So as we kind of ground the head, ideally it allows our body to relax a little bit more as we play with this pose. Now, belly is toned in and up, right? The lower back is long. The arms are working like crazy, everybody. Breathe, press through the hips, press through the feet, feel the arms work, feel the shoulders work. Inhale, tippy toes, and lower those knees back to the floor. Good. And then take one or both blocks to the sides of your mat and step forward with your right leg. So low lunge, your knee is down. High lunge, your knee is up. You decide here. Your hands are either on your blocks or they can be on the floor if you don't have them. Squeeze in through the belly. Take your hands to your knee. Press the torso up. And then notice, where are you in space, right? So we're stretching this back, this left psoas muscle, right? Front of that left thigh. We're opening up the torso. If your torso is more forward, chances are your back psoas muscle, the left one, is kind of tight. So play there. And if you are feeling that, maybe bend the back knee a little bit more. Squeeze the hip, squeeze the glute, tone the belly in, take the arms up. Find your breath, everybody. Notice what's happening with the front leg, the front foot, spread the toes. Try not to dig them down into the earth. Find your breath. Come to cactus arms. Breathe, open chest. Take those hands behind. Interlace the hands, reach the shoulders back. Press the hands down toward the sacrum as the chest lifts up toward the ceiling. Good. Breathe. Your knee can be down, by the way. Don't forget. Release those hands. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands come down to your blocks if you have them, or down to the floor. Lower your left knee. Press your right leg back and switch sides. Left foot forward. Right foot back. Remember, you can be in this nice low lunge, right? Or flip toes under, lift the knee, squeeze in, engage the inner thighs. Hands come to your knee, lift your chest. And just check it out. How is it on this side? Are you tighter on this side because you're maybe right leg dominant? Are you tighter on the other side because you don't stretch it as much? You know, we don't know necessarily. We try to imagine our habit patterns in our body. Do we always sit a certain way? Do we cross our legs a certain way? All that stuff. But in general, we just try to observe. All right, when you're ready, inhale up. Breathe, soften, cactus arms, open the chest. Press through that back leg, everybody. Remember, the knee can be bent. Okay, or bent more. Breathe, release, take those hands behind, interlace, open the shoulders, look up. Find your breath, right? Breathe. And then release those arms. Inhale, take it all the way up. Exhale, hands come down to your blocks. Lower that knee to the floor and lower your other knee to the floor. If you want, maybe just a quick little child's pose. Oh, that feels good. And breathe. All right, last one here. You're going to take, again, if you have both your blocks, awesome. If you don't worry about it. You don't have to have the blocks for this. You're going to step. It's, again, a little tricky. You might have to adjust, but you're going to take those blocks roughly center of your mat. And again, if you don't have them, don't worry. And if you only have one, maybe try it in the center. Again, I didn't think of that till just now. So see if that might work. And then take your hands in front of it way in front of it, and come into a plank pose right over those blocks. And I can tell mine are too far apart. Well, let me bring those in a little more. Hold your pose. And then squeeze the elbows and lower just till those thighs hit your block. If they don't worry. We're doing just a tiny little chaturanga, which means you're going to bend your elbows and you're going to lift off of them. So if you don't have your blocks, couple options. One, drop to knees and just bend elbows and straighten. Or if you're super strong, right? If you're super strong, keep the knees off, bend, and lift this way, right? Squeeze. Here we go. 1 and 2. You're tapping those blocks. 3, 4, and 5. Downward facing dog, everybody. I know. Find your breath. And then walk your hands back. Go right past those blocks. Bend your knees, hands to knees, and come on up. Shake it out. All right, so if you have 2 blocks, you're going to set up a certain way. If you only have 1, I'll show you that. And if all you have is that Shakespeare book we were talking about, you use that. So normally you would do this against a wall, right? You would have a block and you would lean it up against a wall, and then you would place your foot on that block. But most of us, when we're doing Zoom yoga especially, we don't have a wall. So instead, I'm going to take 1 block low and 1 block tilted on it right at its center. If you don't have 2 blocks, you can do it this way, okay? Or if you just don't want to use 2 blocks, you can do it this way. What I'm hoping for is the ball mound of your foot is pressing into something solid and that your block won't slip and slide on your mat. All right, so I'm going to start with my left foot forward. And I've got my block set up, my heel firmly on the floor, the ball mound and the toes on your block, and then see if you can step back into a warrior stance. What does that mean? Front heel to back arch or front heel to back heel. Toes are either straight sideways or slightly turned in. Front knee is bent. And here we go, right? Ankles. When we start to lose the flexibility in the ankles, you can see it. You go outside, watch people walk. They start to lose this ability to bend and straighten the ankles, and they shuffle for many reasons, but that's one reason. So we play with this possibility of flexing the ankle here at a little bit more than we're used to and find a little bit more stretch in that Achilles. So breathe, tone the belly in. You're going to take that whole torso forward, take your forearm to your thigh, lengthen the lower back, just come into a simple extended side angle pose. The right arm is either up to the ceiling or it's over your ear. And breathe. Keep lengthening the tailbone and think, if your left foot is forward, I want you to think of that left outer hip pressing back toward the back heel. So it's kind of really subtle, but it's this back hip rolling back a little bit, finding that length, using your breath. Tone the belly, everybody. And then squeeze in through the belly, lift those arms up and hold. Straighten your front leg. Now, triangle pose. I haven't said this in a long time, but super easy to hyperextend this knee, this front knee. So firm up this thigh, keep a softness to the knee, okay? Take the arms out, but I want you to take the back arm down to your side and slide it down the leg. Lift the other arm, press into that ball mound of the front foot. Engage the hips and engage the legs. Keep that arm down, that back arm down. Slide it forward as you lower down either to your leg or to your block. Open up the shoulder, tone the belly, move this front hip back, and then take the arm up and breathe. This might be too low for you. And if it is, you take this front hand up the thigh, up the leg until you feel sturdy and steady, right? In the pose. Breathe. Notice what you're doing with your head, your neck. Is there equal distance all the way around that head, all the way around that neck? Can't speak for the head, but the neck. Breathe. You can look up. I don't love the look up thing, but you can if you like that. Take that top hand back down to your hip. If your hand is on the block in the front, take it back to your leg, slide them both back up. Now, hardest part of this is coming out. I like to shorten the pose and then take my toes off. Good. And then step together, shake it out. Now, for most of you, you can probably turn around and just do the opposite side. I'm just going to go to the other edge of my mat. Same setup here. And remember, you can do all of this with one block, okay? Same thing. Same, almost the same. All right, so here we are set up. I'm going to take my right foot to the block and take your time with this. Make sure it feels really steady to you. And then maybe heel toe or step back with the other leg until you find yourself in that warrior stance again. And just check out the ankle, right? For now, it's a flex here. It's a bit of a stretch here. Maybe not a whole lot for the Achilles just yet. We're going to change it up to get more into that in a minute. And just feel how that feels to you. But then notice, what else is it that you're doing? Woo! What else is it that you're doing with your pose? Engage that back glute. Fire up the back leg. I tend to, in these types of poses, I tend to push the legs away from each other isometrically, okay? And then notice that sweet little warrior pose and breathe. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, you're going to take your front arm, your front forearm to your front thigh. I'm going to start to adjust the pose. When you come into these poses, adjust it for your body, right? So I tone in through the belly. I'm taking this front hip and rolling it back a little bit. It's an almost instant shift in the hips and the lower back when I do that. It's like somebody's taking this front thigh and just bringing it back toward the back heel a little bit. Good engagement with the back leg. And then the top arm either goes up or it goes over your ear. Try not to sink into the leg too much. Like stay a bit lifted so that the arm isn't the only thing doing the work. Push through the legs, everybody. Find your pose. Big deep breath. And then take that arm up. Whoo, yeah. Straighten your front leg. Make sure your blocks still feel sturdy. Take the back arm down and maybe stretch up. Push into your front leg, everybody. And breathe. And then here we go, triangle. Keep that back arm in touch with your body. Take the front one down. Open up the shoulder. Come down to your level. Maybe you're touching the block, maybe not. Then if you want, take the top arm up. Good. Lengthen that front hip. Press through both legs. That feels a little deep on this side, so I'm going to come up a little bit. Breathe. Lovely little triangle pose. And then slide up, everybody. Whew. Good. Maybe heel toe in just a little. And then take your foot off of that block. Stay wide with the legs, deep hinge to your hips, and come on forward. Just let the head hang. Maybe the hands come out to softly support your pose. Just don't hang. Don't hang free, like no hands, no nothing. Even if you're just barely touching, right? Keep a little support there. Nice length to your torso, everybody. Try not to overly round. Deep breath. Exhale it just as deeply. And then turn the toes out maybe 45-ish degrees. Bend your knees. Walk those hands forward. One hand to one knee, one hand to the other knee, and press all the way up to standing. Good. Roll out those shoulders. If your blocks are not in your way, leave them where they are. And then squeeze in through the low belly and the lower back. And all I want you to do is take your hands to your thighs, slide them down to your knees as you come into a squat. What that's doing, so there's something to be said for feeling what you're doing. Like I can, squat all day long, but as soon as I do this, I get a sense of where the legs are going. And if we have a tendency to roll in or roll out too much, we're going to maybe feel that as we stay at the tops at that center of the thighs. So that's kind of why we're doing it that way. So shoulders back, inhale the arms up. Exhale right to your thighs. Squat down, squat up. Here we go, everybody. You go as deep or as not deep as you want to for your body. But maybe as you press the heels of those hands through the center of your thighs, you go, oh, look at that knee. That knee rolls in. Why does it do that? And see if you can keep both knees pressing out. There we go. Breathe. That's it. If you've had enough, you can just stand and watch or take a sip of water. No big deal. We got 5 left, everyone. 5, 4. Yep, don't over squeeze the toes. 3, squeeze up. 2, and 1, hold. You don't have to be super deep. Big tone of the belly, squeeze in those legs, find your breath. We're going to lift one heel and lower, lift the other heel. If this hurts your feet, don't do it. Here we go. And lift opposite heels, opposite. Keep going. Calf work. Breathe, not to mention these babies working, right? Whew. That's it. Come on. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. See if you can come down just a little lower and then press all the way up. Heel toe in, everyone. Nice job. Shake it out. And then I want you to come back to this configuration if you got it. Okay. And we're going to start with the left leg, but this time we're going to face both hips forward. So warrior 2, right? I call it an open hip pose. The hips kind of go in opposite directions. Pyramid pose, warrior 1, both of them, amongst others, hips are forward. So carefully be mindful. Take the left foot into the center of that block again. And then try to step back with your other foot. It's, can be a little tricky. I should have said, be near a wall or a chair or something if you need it. The ball mound of your front foot is fully on your block or your book. Take this front hip, roll it back. You should feel both hips pretty darn even with each other. Does not have to be perfect. And then feel how your torso rises up from here. So the first thing we're going to do is bend the front knee. Again, be mindful of the ankle. Notice how that feels. Press through the back leg and the back glute. And then inhale the arms up. Warrior 1 variation, right? You might not be in as long a pose as you would normally for warrior 1, but we got this funky thing going on with the ankle, right, in the foot. So it's all right. Find your breath. Big deep breath, open up chest, open up the arms. Take your hands to your heart. Pause. I want you to push into your block to straighten your front leg. Remember that this left hip stays training back. Release those hands. In fact, if you put your thumbs in both hip creases, you get woo. And if you start to trip, I shouldn't look at the camera. Notice, right, as you put both thumbs into your hip creases, you can feel what's happening. So lengthen that torso, tone the belly, start to lower it to your level. One, the hands are just going to come to the shins. Try not to hyperextend the front leg. Two, the hands are going to come down to that block that's sitting right in front of you. The shoulders open. Make sure you're pressing into the full ball mound of your foot. And you're straightening your front knee for pyramid pose. Remember that that back leg is part of your pose. The weight is pressing back. The sit bone of the front leg is lifting up and back. And you're smiling, right? You're breathing, you're smiling, you're exploring. If you have the space, you can take the hands to the floor, open up the shoulders. Lengthen the torso toward the blocks, not toward the leg, but toward the blocks. Find your breath. Hang out. Just feel what you are feeling. Where in the hamstrings do you feel the stretch? Is it more inside? Is it more outside? Is it way up at the hip or is it closer to the knee? If your hands happen to be on the floor, take them back to your blocks. So you're starting to lift. Once you're there, take them to your leg, lift some more, push hard in your foot hard into your block. Walk your hands all the way up your thigh, bend your knee, and then step out of pose. Trickiest part of this whole thing is just getting that front foot off your block without getting tripped up, okay? So you probably figured that out already. All right, so other side, you're gonna take the right foot to, how are the legs feeling, by the way, right? How are they feeling for you? Right foot to the block. The left foot starts to shimmy back. The front knee bends. The hips roll toward the front of the short edge of your mat. Now, because this back leg is doing what it's doing, right? It's this kind of internal rotation. Your hips might not be completely squared. That is normal and it's okay. What we're really looking for is that it feels more like a closed hip pose. The shoulders, ribs are all facing relatively forward. Shoulders are open. Front knee bends, back leg presses. Arms come up, warrior one. Little bit of tone to the belly. Make sure you can breathe. Deep breaths. Isn't that what we're doing this for, right? Deep breaths, calm mind. I don't know. Just breathe. That's it. And feel both legs working. Feel both legs working, everyone. That's it. Hands come to heart. Roll the shoulders back. Take those hands to your hips. Maybe turn the palms so that your thumbs go to the hip creases as you straighten your front leg. And already I had to adjust a little bit. That right front hip had to come back a little bit for me. Dig the thumbs in and imagine you're going to take the crown of your head to that wall in front of you. Breathe, tone in through the belly. If you feel good here, stay here. Otherwise, hands to shins. Because we're on these blocks that are wobbly, I don't want to come down super quick. Press through the back leg. One, you're here. Two, the hands come to the block. Front knee relatively straight, depending on you, depending on your hamstrings. Try to open the shoulders. Think of the crown of the head going to that far block. Breathe. If you only have one block, you're doing this same thing. Being very mindful of how far down you go. If you have that book, your foot pressing into the book, your spine lengthening. If you have none of the above, by the way, you can do this flat-footed. That's another one I should have said a lot earlier. Breathe. You can take those hands to the floor if they'll reach, but don't overreach. Like, you should be able to sustain the pose for a little bit. And if it feels like I cannot hold this, then you're too low. Chances are you're too low. Or maybe you're too wide, maybe your foot's too far back. You can play with all of those things. Everybody's body is different, it's individual. That's it. One more good breath here. If your hands are on the floor, take them to your block, start to lift the torso. From there, take your hands to your shin, lift the torso even more. Push strongly into your block. Walk those hands up your thigh. Woo! Maybe a short step in. Take that foot off your block. Go wide. Toes point forward this time. Hinge from the hips and come on down. The arms stretch out. The shoulders draw back. The torso gets nice and long. And we just breathe. That's it. Good. Hands back under shoulders. Turn the toes out. I find that easier for most of our knees. Hands to knees. And come on up. Good. Roll it out. We've got one more with this little configuration. This one is short. So again, make sure that you've got some solid stuff going on there. Take the left foot to your block, but your right foot is staying pretty close. Come on, Aunt. So you're not stepping way back. This is much more targeted for the Achilles. So again, be mindful. Your foot is in the center of your block. The hip rolls back. And I want you to bend the back knee as you come down toward the front foot. Both of my knees are soft, by the way. My front leg is not straight, it's bent. Here's where it gets a little interesting. If you take your torso over or forward, you're going to get more stretch. And the thing about stretching, everybody, a lot of people think yoga is all about the stretch. I think that you want to come to sensation and not a big sensation when we're playing here in yoga, right? I want to feel the first stretch and then I want to just investigate that. And maybe I feel, all right, that feels really good. I can just go slightly deeper. But I take my time and I just feel it out. The more you bend the back knee, the more that chest comes forward, the more interesting the stretch. I'm now getting it right up into the hamstring a little. Breathe. Same thing. Hands come to knees. Lift up through your torso. Woo. Release that foot. We're going to stretch that out in just a second. So hang in there. Let's go to the other side. Right foot. Left foot is just slightly back, step and a half. Press into that foot really strong and bend your back knee and just start to investigate, where is it for me? If your back calf muscles are really open, you might not feel a super deep stretch here, and that's okay. You don't really need to. Check out the foot, nice and solid. Sit down into that. And then if you want more, lean over the blocks a little bit more. Like my gaze is peering over that second block to deepen the stretch through the back of this heel. Breathe. I take for granted that I think most of you know where your Achilles tendon is, but if you don't, just while we're hanging out, it actually starts at the heel, the front end of the heel, closer to the arch. It wraps around the heel, around the back of the ankle, and it is the tendon that attaches to the calf muscle, the muscle called the gastrocnemius. So it's a long, tough, fibrous tendon. And tendons and ligaments, they don't like a big stretch. They like a slow stretch. They don't have a lot of blood supply. So I realize I'm getting into my geeky anatomy stuff. So sorry about that. So we take it slow. We don't need it big. All right, come on out, everybody. Hands to knees. Slowly take that torso up. Woo, step off of that. Shake it out. I want you to grab both of your blocks. If you have them, again, if you don't worry about it. If you only have one, I want you to go high. You may or may not need a second block. Take the feet wide. And then you're going to take your head, if you can, please don't force this, down to your block. And breathe. Your head should have very little weight on that block. Even though I can take my hands off my mat, my head is barely touching the block. I'm using my legs to support this pose. So once again, this block to forehead thing can be really nice for calming the nervous system. It can be super good for headaches, some headaches, so be mindful there. But it can just kind of ground you to just calming down, letting that nervous system calm down. If you feel like your head is jamming up, like it's so high, it's jamming up, you just lower it down and take that head lower. Breathe. As you rest that head on your block, you should not feel like your legs are overdoing it. Something else I see in yoga classes, people want to touch their head to the floor, so they go so wide, they have no control over the legs. Don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, wherever you are, press those hands or fingertips into the floor and lift halfway up. Pull the shoulders back and isometrically try to drag those hands back toward your legs. So super length with the torso. Turn the toes out, maybe walk them in a little bit. Bend the knees, hands to knees. Come on up, everybody. Woo! Yeah. And then step those legs together. If you've got one, grab one block, squeeze it between those legs. Feet are pointing forward. Walk the feet in, squeeze, squeeze. Kind of a reset for the hips, everyone. And just find your mountain pose. Just find mountain pose. Squeeze in that block. We're giving the legs, the hips a chance to kind of realign. If you would like a little bit more, take your right hand, my left, your right, slide it down, get a little bit of a stretch, and then take the left arm overhead. I'm pushing this hand into my leg, so I'm not just hanging again. Slide up, hand down, switch, slide it all the way up your torso, and then let it go. And take it up. Good, take the block out. And before we come down to our mat, I want you to take one foot, watch your balance, and flip it under. So we're stretching the front of the ankle, and then bend your standing leg and stretch the front of your ankle. For some, this is way more sensation than flexing it. The stretch is something we don't do a lot. Good, release that. Just simply do the other side. Flip the toes back and lean into that front ankle. Bend your other leg. Find your breath. And release it. Good, shake that out. Stand nice and tall, everyone. I want you to really lean into your left leg and see if you can bring that right knee up to your chest. Now, as that knee comes high, you press down even more with the standing leg. Open up your shoulders, spread out your toes. Take the hands underneath your thigh. Lift up even taller. 1, you're here. 2, you're down. That's enough for you. 3, whoop, you're going to extend out. Press the leg into your hands. Resist with your hands so that your chest is wide open. Your shoulders are wide open. Oh, sorry, I'm showing you the bottom of my foot. Breathe. Bend. Release. Shake it out. Let's do the other side. Your right leg, my left leg. Stand tall, bend the knee, bring it to chest. And breathe. Hands under thigh, interlace those hands lightly. 1, just stay right here. 2, see if you can extend. Once I've extended, I'm pushing the leg down into my hands. And I'm resisting, obviously, with the hands. The shoulders stay wide. Breathe. 5, 4, stand tall. 3, 2, 1, bend and release. Good job, everybody. Have your blocks where you can get to them. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, down you go. Whew. Step back to downward facing dog. Spread the fingers, spread the feet, spread the legs. Just feel your whole body stretching out. This down dog should feel marvelous. Breathe. Maybe come up on the tippy toes and then press down closer to the heels. Heels do not have to touch. Up to your tippy toes. Down to your heels. And then bend your knees all the way down to the floor. Now, undo your toes. So your feet are flat on the floor. 1, you're here. Okay. 2, if you can, you're going to sit back. Now, for some of us, this thing on the knees, not good. Please don't do that. If you can, so we're stretching the fronts of those feet again. And if you need to, you can just kind of lean back, take one forward, lift the knee, right? So there's another option where you're not compressing the knees so much. But if you can sit in this variation of hero pose, you're sitting on your heels. Maybe you can lean back. Maybe you can lift the toes or lift the knees. I want to lift the toes. That'd be good. Good. Release it, everybody. Undo your legs. Take those legs out in front of you. Straighten both legs. And then just simply point and flex a couple times. That's it. Good. And then grab your blocks. You're going to need one block here or one substitute for a block. Take those feet out in front of you. Open up the arms. Pull the arms back. Come on down all the way to the mat. Your feet are on the floor. Take the feet wide on your mat. Just drop the legs to one side. And then bring them back to center. Drop them to the other side. And back to center. And then walk the feet back in. You're going to take your one block and place it between your thighs. Again, for me, I like the second level. It's about the same width as my hips, my inner line of my hips. So I like how that feels. You might go wider, you might go more narrow, you might get rid of the block altogether. Same thing here. I want you to grab the sides of your mat and pull the mat away from you. You'll physically slide a little bit more to the front of your mat. Okay, to the top end of your mat. That's how that should feel. Plant your feet, squeeze the block a little. Lengthen your tailbone and lift the hips. So we're in bridge pose here, right? Pretty obvious. So pull the mat away from you. You're not trying to pull the shoulders. You're pulling the mat away to lengthen your spine. Give the block maybe a 20% squeeze, that's all. And then feel how the hips and the glutes engage, tailbone long, and then try pressing the shins forward as you open up the chest. Now, where you go in bridge again is going to be up to you. For some people, this version of bridge bothers their knees. So the first thing I would do is take the block out, try to widen the legs, and then try to turn the toes out a little bit and see if that releases the pressure on the knees. If it doesn't, lower down some. Okay. So we're in this bridge pose. We got this silly block. Last thing I want us to do here, pulling on our yoga mat, is to try to pull the heels back to the glutes and feel what fires up like that, right? It's so quick. Soon as I pull those heels back isometrically, if I didn't say that, the hamstrings fire up, the upper hammies fire up right at the level of the glutes, the hips engage, all kinds of stuff going on. Breathe, and then push the heels away from you. So notice how the hips go a little bit higher. Pull the heels in toward you, toward hips. Feel that. Push the hips away. Release both and slowly come on down to the floor. Take the block out. Just set it down for a second. Big deep breath. So one more bridge pose, everybody. And this one, goodness gracious, look at the time. Okay. So this one, just short and sweet. You're going to take that same block at the lowest level. You're going to lift the hips and set that block on your sacrum. Please make sure that block is not at your lower back, okay? Make sure it's on that hard, bony, solid sacrum below the line of the hips. So, or below the line of that top, the pelvic ring. And then let the hands come down to your sides. So this is a restorative bridge pose. You can rest the hips, the sacrum on the block. Minor inversion here, not a big one, but a minor one. And breathe. And if you so choose here, bring the feet off the floor. Take the legs up to the ceiling, a bit more of an inversion here. You should find the hover point with the legs so that the legs do not have to work here. They're just hanging out. You're just hanging out, finding your breath, settling deeply into the pose. Just breathe. Couple more breaths right here. You can do this at a wall. You can take your legs up the wall. Very, very restorative, very good for your nervous system. Bend the knees, everyone. One foot to the floor at a time. Take one, then the other. Press strongly into both feet. Lift your hips. Take the block out and slowly lower those hips to the floor. Bring your knees to your chest. Roll the knees to one side. Come into a twist. Again, what you do with your head, your neck is up to you. I don't like to over twist my neck. It's easy for me to do. I have a lot of mobility there, so I don't tend to take it strong to the opposite direction. I tend to keep it more neutral. Deep breath. And as you exhale, let all of that tension melt into the floor. Maybe you smile just a little bit. You know the end of class is coming. Take your top knee to center and then your bottom knee. Twist to the other side. Shoulders are nice and wide. Chest is open. And take the top knee up and then the bottom knee. Both feet to the floor. Optional here, it is Shavasana time, everybody. Optional if you have a couple blocks or maybe a blanket or a pillow. Set those blocks right at that level of the hips and the buttocks again, the glutes. Straighten the legs over the blocks. Your hips are on the floor, your glutes are on the floor. You're just elevating that line a little bit to come into a really soft, easy on the back. Letting the heels of the feet come to the floor and just finding your Shavasana. The breath softly moves in and out. Find our breath. Let go of any remaining tension in your body. Like really let that body get heavy to the floor. Maybe a soft smile comes across the face just to feed that body those positive emotions, that positive feeling of well-being. And soften even more. See if you can soften even more. And then, if you're ready, start to wiggle your toes, your fingers. And very slowly draw your knees up to your chest. Squeeze them in, rock side to side, roll the knees to one side or the other. Curl into fetal pose, pause there, just snug in and smile and be happy. And then when you're ready, press up very slowly up to your seated pose. Bring your hands to your heart. Bow to your own inner wisdom and strength and compassion. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.